Someone at brunch flashed a Gucci belt, but couldn't cover $62 alone. That contradiction isn't rare. It's actually the norm across America's so-called successful people. Millions look wealthy on the outside, while quietly drowning in debt and stress. Luxury brands built an entire system to sell you the feeling of success. They target people who can't afford it, and it's working better than ever. Today, you'll learn the exact 10 signs that expose fake wealth instantly. These signs apply to strangers, co-workers, family members, and honestly, probably yourself too. Once you learn to spot them, you'll never see luxury the same way again. More importantly, you'll learn how to escape this trap before it destroys you. Stick around, because sign number 10 will completely change how you see money. Right now, you might be stretching your budget just to look successful. Maybe you've bought something expensive purely because of what it would signal. Today's lesson is called The Psychology of Fake Wealth, and it's eye-opening. You'll learn exactly why people chase appearances instead of building actual financial security. This isn't about judging anyone, including yourself, for wanting nice things occasionally. It's about recognizing a trap that keeps millions stuck looking rich while broke. We'll break down 10 specific signs, backed by real research and real numbers. Each sign works as a mirror, showing you patterns worth questioning in yourself. By the end, you'll know how to build wealth instead of performing it. Let's start with the trap that makes this whole system work so well. Across the country, people spend enormous money just to appear financially successful. Someone can drive a car costing $650 monthly and still panic over brunch. This isn't a story about poverty. It's about performance replacing actual financial health. Millions are cosplaying success while carrying negative net worth and constant financial anxiety. They're one emergency away from catastrophe, yet completely dedicated to looking rich. This pattern isn't random. It's the predictable result of clever marketing psychology. Understanding this trap protects you from falling into the exact same cycle. You'll start noticing it everywhere, in co-workers, friends, family, even strangers nearby. But the real value comes from recognizing these patterns inside your own choices. Let's start by understanding exactly how this whole trap was carefully engineered. Luxury brands make real profits from wealthy clients buying new cars constantly. But truly wealthy people are rare, so the math simply doesn't work alone. Brands solved this by creating cheaper products that still carry the prestigious logo. These entry-level items target people who want status but can't afford it. That's why Louis Vuitton sells key pouches for hundreds of dollars each. That's why Gucci sells belts priced far beyond their actual material value. Even BMW makes a base model specifically to reach stretched middle-class buyers. Wealthy people don't carry entry-level items as their primary luxury purchase. These products exist purely to extract money from people already financially stretched. It's a psychological exploit disguised as an accessible entry into luxury living. A 2023 Experian study revealed something genuinely shocking about luxury buyers. People financing entry-level luxury cars actually earn less than regular car buyers. Someone buying a base BMW earns less than someone buying a loaded Accord. Entry-level luxury buyers are more likely stretched thin and underwater within years. Regular car buyers are more likely to own their vehicle outright eventually. They're also more likely building genuine wealth instead of chasing appearances constantly. Yet, at every stoplight, the luxury buyer appears wealthier to everyone watching. This gap between appearance and reality is exactly what marketers count on. They're selling status symbols to people who can least afford the cost. Remember this data every single time a logo tempts your spending decisions. Sign number 1 is called the logo to net worth ratio mismatch. Genuinely wealthy people tend to dress surprisingly plain in everyday situations, constantly. Research on millionaires shows most don't drive luxury cars or wear designer clothes. They don't need external validation because their bank account already proves success. People seeking that validation are usually the ones feeling financially insecure inside. Watch closely for logos wildly disproportionate to someone's likely actual income level. Someone earning $55,000 yearly carrying a $3,000 handbag stands out. Do the math. That's a massive percentage of their entire annual income. Buying quality within your means differs completely from stretching for a logo. so. The first choice is preference. The second choice is a dangerous trap. Sign number 2 is called base model badge engineering, and it's everywhere. Someone wants a luxury badge, but can't afford the actual luxury experience. So they buy the cheapest trim with cloth seats and minimal features. From the outside, that badge still signals success to anyone watching closely. A base luxury sedan can cost more than a fully loaded, reliable competitor. That competitor often has similar power, better seats, and stronger reliability ratings. The badge buyer spends extra money just to get an objectively worse car. People genuinely impressed by that badge usually know nothing about cars themselves. Anyone who actually understands cars notices the cheap trim immediately and clearly. You're overpaying to impress people who can't tell the difference at all. Sign number 3 is the visible-invisible wealth gap, and it's revealing. Wealth comes in two forms: what people see and what stays hidden. Visible wealth includes cars, clothes, watches, and vacations people post online constantly. Invisible wealth includes retirement accounts, emergency funds, and diversified long-term investment portfolios. Truly wealthy people usually have far more invisible wealth than visible wealth. Someone cosplaying success often flips that entire ratio completely upside down instead. Their luxury items are visible, but their actual savings remain embarrassingly small. Ask yourself what invisible wealth would realistically support someone's visible lifestyle choices. A young professional flashing luxury rarely has real assets backing it up. This gap between display and reality is an unmistakable, powerful warning sign. Sign number 4 is called the lifestyle subscription trap, and it's sneaky. Traditional luxury meant true ownership, something you kept and eventually passed down. Modern fake wealth increasingly relies on leasing, renting, and monthly subscriptions instead. Leasing a luxury car for years can cost tens of thousands with nothing owned. Buying and keeping a reliable used car often costs dramatically less over time. The leasing person looks richer today, but owns absolutely nothing to show. The buying person builds real equity worth thousands of dollars over years. That difference could easily fund a serious down payment on a house. Subscriptions and leases quietly drain your money toward appearance instead of real ownership. Every dollar spent renting an image is a dollar not building wealth. Sign number 5 is the social media ratio, especially relevant for younger people. Genuinely secure people rarely document every expensive meal or luxury experience obsessively. Someone performing success documents almost everything because the documentation is the point. The meal becomes content. The trip becomes content. The moment becomes content. Research links frequent luxury posting to lower financial well-being and lower satisfaction. Even at similar income levels, performing wealth online correlates with less happiness. If most spending goes toward postable moments, you're likely performing, not living. Watch social feeds dominated entirely by luxury items and curated experiences constantly. That imbalance often signals financial insecurity, hiding behind a polished online image. Genuine wealth rarely needs an audience to feel real or truly validated. Sign number 6 is context-dependent flexing, and it's subtle but telling. Genuinely wealthy people present themselves consistently, whether at work, home, or dinner. Someone performing wealth often maintains separate public and private financial personas entirely. They wear designer outfits publicly, but fast fashion privately at home, constantly. They carry the luxury bag when seen, but use a plain bag otherwise. Maintaining two versions of yourself creates enormous ongoing mental and emotional exhaustion. This selective deployment of status symbols reveals performance rather than genuine reality. If you can only afford one nice item, wear it consistently, always. Constant switching between personas signals financial stress, hiding behind occasional luxury moments. True consistency in presentation usually reflects true consistency in real financial security. Sign number 7 is the financial vocabulary gap, and it's remarkably reliable. People performing wealth talk mostly about spending, prices, and where they traveled. People building wealth talk about investing, compounding, equity, and asset allocation instead. Their vocabulary reveals reveals what actually occupies their mind on a daily basis. Wealth builders stay curious about how money works and actively grows over time. Wealth performers become experts on trending restaurants, brands, and aspirational neighborhoods instead. Listen closely to how someone discusses money during any casual, everyday conversation. Are they discussing spending it or growing it through deliberate financial decisions? That single distinction reveals far more than any visible logo ever could. Vocabulary quietly exposes priorities that outward appearance works incredibly hard to hide. Sign number 8 is the absence of boring wealth, and it's crucial. Real wealth includes boring things like emergency funds and adequate life insurance. It includes estate plans, diversified portfolios, and retirement contributions nobody ever posts. This boring stuff is invisible, unglamorous, and completely unpostable on social media. Someone cosplaying success typically has none of this financial infrastructure in place. They own plenty of luxury items, but carry no real emergency fund whatsoever. Ask if someone has a will, retirement match, or 6 months' expenses saved. If the answer is no, but yes to designer items, that's revealing. Nearly 40% of Americans can't cover a small emergency expense today. A meaningful share of that group still owns something carrying a luxury logo. Sign number 9 is the fixed cost to income ratio disaster, essentially. Financial stability depends on how much income is already committed before spending. Healthy fixed costs typically stay below 50% of someone's take-home pay. Someone cosplaying success often pushes fixed costs toward 80 or 90% instead. Each individual luxury commitment feels affordable alone, but together they stack dangerously. Rent, car payments, insurance, and subscriptions can consume nearly every dollar earned. That leaves almost nothing left for groceries, emergencies, savings, or genuine investing. When an emergency hits, the only remaining option becomes even more debt. This lifestyle becomes a fragile house of cards, waiting to collapse completely. Fixed costs quietly determine whether someone's finances are stable or dangerously fragile. Sign number 10 is the money stress inversion, and it's the clearest signal. Logically, someone displaying luxury should feel completely relaxed about smaller, everyday expenses. Instead, people cosplaying success often panic over surprisingly small, unexpected little costs. They'll suggest splitting a bill differently or vanish right when it arrives. Every single dollar went toward performance, leaving nothing for life's mundane realities. They're simultaneously displaying wealth while experiencing constant underlying financial stress and anxiety. Actual wealth provides peace of mind, not anxiety over a small bill. If someone stresses over minor costs while wearing luxury, that's very telling. That luxury item isn't proof of wealth, it's often the reason for none. This final sign ties every previous pattern together into one clear picture. This entire system wasn't accidental, it was deliberately engineered by clever marketers. Every trap transfers wealth from stretched consumers directly toward large corporations profiting. Social media constantly bombards you with curated images of manufactured, performed success. Coworkers show up with nicer things, making you feel unfairly behind constantly. Family members compare milestones, adding even more pressure to keep up appearances. Society equates visible luxury with worth, so the pressure feels completely natural. But every dollar spent performing wealth is a dollar not building it. Interest on financed luxury items works against you instead of for you. The tragic irony is that this performance doesn't even genuinely work anyway. Truly wealthy people see straight through entry-level logos without being impressed. This trap specifically targets people feeling pressure to appear successful before achieving it. It targets anyone who has stretched their budget just to signal status. It targets people wondering whether the wealthy people around them are genuine. Young professionals face enormous pressure entering competitive, image-conscious professional environments early. Social platforms amplify this pressure by rewarding curated, luxury-focused online content. Nobody is naturally immune. Awareness is genuinely the only real protection available. Recognizing yourself in these patterns isn't failure, it's simply valuable self-awareness. That awareness becomes the essential first step toward real, meaningful financial change. The goal was never judging others, it was protecting your own future. Now, let's turn that awareness into practical steps you can start today. First, redefine wealth correctly as assets minus liabilities, not visible lifestyle spending. Wealth means options and freedom, never logos, leases, or curated online appearances. Real wealth stays invisible, boring, and incredibly valuable over the long run. Fake wealth stays visible, exciting, and ultimately completely worthless in the end. Internalize this distinction before making any major future purchasing decision going forward. Track your spending from the past year across visible and invisible categories. Visible spending includes anything you could show off to friends or strangers. Invisible spending includes anything that builds your actual long-term financial foundation. If that ratio feels wrong, start deliberately shifting it in small steps. Build your emergency fund before expanding your wardrobe or upgrading your car. Second, resist the entry-level luxury trap by questioning every branded purchase. Before buying, ask if you'd still want it without the recognizable logo. If a base model isn't genuinely a good product, the logo isn't worth it. Buy the actually superior unbranded product and invest the difference somewhere meaningful instead. Third, work directly on your internal sense of worth, not external validation. Many people perform wealth because they've tied self-worth to perceived status. No amount of designer items will ever fix genuine internal insecurity permanently. Develop self-worth through excellence, meaningful relationships, and real community contribution instead. These sources create authentic pride that no single purchase could ever replace. This work matters more than any single financial decision you'll ever make. There's nothing wrong with enjoying nice things comfortably within your actual means. The problem starts when performance replaces genuine financial security and long-term stability. There's a real difference between quality purchases and purchasing status you don't have. One path genuinely improves your life, the other quietly keeps you trapped. Build boring wealth, fund invisible accounts, and drive the unglamorous, reliable car. Skip the entry-level luxury trap entirely and let people wonder about your finances. Truly wealthy people never worry what strangers assume about their financial situation. You don't need to look rich. You genuinely need to become rich. That path requires releasing the need to look rich along the way. Start today, because real financial freedom is worth far more than appearances.